Well, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's 11 a.m. Central Time here in the United States, so we're going to get started. So welcome to the Introduction to Jira Align webinar hosted by XPM. My name is Jason Kidner. I'm going to be your tour guide through the world of Jira Align. I am a solutions architect here at XPM. I'm also a SAFe program consultant and certified as a Jira administrator. I've also been through Atlassian's Jira Align specialization training and have worked with a number of clients with their Jira Align needs. So we're gonna go through a pretty or just basic introduction. It's a pretty straightforward agenda on the webinar. Just a couple of introductions here. Then we're going to get into concepts around scaled agile and some of the Atlassian tools that can help with your agile at scale journey, most notably Jira Align. The bulk of this webinar is going to be a demo of Jira Align and many of its capabilities. And we'll wrap up with questions. And just by way of some housekeeping notes, if you do have questions for the end, you can open the Q&A part of this Zoom meeting and you can enter your questions there. And I will do my best to answer them at the end. So again, this webinar is being hosted by XPM. I'm a solutions architect with XPM. XPM is an Atlassian Platinum Solutions partner. We're based in St. Louis, Missouri. And we're a team of Atlassian certified consultants. A number of us are SPCs. And we have worked with a number of clients using Jira Line and have several implementations of Jira Line, either ongoing or planned for later this year. So let's just jump right into it and start talking about Agile at Scale. So this is a diagram that I think represents the complexity of Agile at Scale or your Agile at Scale journey, and which is what Jira Line can really help with. So overall planning at scale includes a number of things. So it includes sprint or iteration planning at the team level. It includes program planning, which involves large events like big room or PI planning, where you're really planning out your features for your next PI or quarterly increment. You also have, you keep going up to the other layers here. You have your master planning or your portfolio planning, where you're dealing with safe epics or initiatives and deciding whether to pivot or persevere on those. And then finally, you have product management, where you're looking into what is your company going to work on overall. So all these kind of factor together, and all of them ultimately need to be aligned together. So, and starting an agile transformation or scaling agile in your organization can be a very long and complex undertaking. So while tools don't define these processes, they are needed for scaled agile to help with visualization and planning and tracking and just keeping your whole organization aligned. So tools like Jira are great for the team level planning when you're dealing with features or Jira epics. And tasks and subtasks, things like that. It's great for that. But when you start to get above the team level into your program, into portfolio level planning, that's where you need other tools beyond Jira. And so that's, again, where Jira Align comes in. But before we talk about Jira Align, we often get questions around advanced roadmaps and how can advanced roadmaps fit in with your Agile at Scale journey, and also when you're also trying to make a decision about Jira Align. So as the name suggests, advanced roadmaps is a road mapping tool and that can be used to help you with your Agile, with your planning at scale. And it's now included in Jira Cloud Premium and in Jira Cloud Enterprise. It's also now included as a free add-on with Jira Software Data Center. Advanced roadmaps is great for growing Agile organizations that need visibility, shared focus, accurate delivery, and it allows you to plan across multiple teams, and it also allows you to start to align your work above that Jira epic level. You can actually implement an infinite hierarchy of work levels using advanced roadmaps. And as you'll see today, Jira Line has a lot more capabilities around the higher planning than Advanced Roadmaps has. But if you're just starting on your Agile at Scale journey, Advanced Roadmaps can be very helpful. We've seen a lot of organizations use it. We've helped a lot of organizations use it and provide a lot of value with team planning, capacity, you name it. But even if you're using Jira Align, you can still use Advanced Roadmaps for those users who are just still in Jira and not actively living in Jira Line. So, and we have webinars around Advanced Roadmaps for our portfolio management webinar that we'll talk more about, where you can access these, register for these, and even find videos of them on our YouTube channel. We'll talk about that shortly. But let's get to Jira Line. That's why you attended this today. So Jira Line is formerly called AgileCraft. It was acquired by Atlassian in 2019. And so now it's Atlassian's cloud-based Agile at Scale solution that provides enterprises with a tool to align business strategy with their team execution. And so Jira Line helps with, and we'll talk about this a lot, it helps syncing both people, the work that they do, and the time that the work is being planned in across the enterprise. Jira Line offers product management, strategic portfolio management and planning, and scale development modules all together. So you have this cross-team and cross-functional collaboration all in one tool. Jira Line also has the ability to analyze data and information in real time, and there's a lot of reporting capabilities within the tool. It can ultimately become the single source of truth for your team execution and planning, and all the way up, to your portfolio planning within your organization. You can also see from this diagram that Jira Line layers on top of or connects to one or multiple Jira instances. That could be Jira on-prem or Jira cloud instances. So, so the work down in the Jira at the team level with stories, defects, tasks, that is synced over to Jira Line, and then that information is all aggregated up to the various layers of scale, which we'll show you in the demo. So at this point in the discussion, organizations are often asking if Jira Line is right for them. So I just want to briefly touch on the positioning of this tool. Jira Line is meant for organizations that are already or in the process of implementing SAFe or are undergoing some sort of agile transformation. It's really set up and ideal if your organization's been through at least one PI or quarterly increment where you're starting to get some maturity around Agile at Scale within your organization. As you'll see, this is a very large tool, so it has a much larger, higher price point than other Atlassian products. So the tool is really meant for organizations with at least 500 developers. And what we've noticed as we've talked to many organizations interested in this is that the price point or the size and the complexity of implementing and using it can be, smaller companies can struggle with one or both of those things. So again, Advanced Roadmaps could be a better fit if you're a smaller organization or you're just kind of just getting started thinking about Agile at Scale. But then Jira Line could come in later on once you start to get some maturity, once you get at least one PI going within your organization. There's a couple other things around Jira Line. There are notably, again, 3 types of hierarchy within the tool. There's people and work and time. And really, if you think about this is how we all work, right? But we don't really realize it right away. But we have people. So there's this first hierarchy where this is literally the people doing the work. It's the teams that are planning and delivering the work, and the membership on those teams then controls the permissions you have within the tool, what you can see, what you can do. Then you have a second hierarchy of work. And this is what most people are familiar with. It's the work that we're all doing and what layer of the organization is that work kind of fit in with. So, so at the top, we have the enterprise layer, which deals with strategy and mission and vision and values. Then you go down to the portfolio layer where you're dealing with themes and safe epics or initiatives. Then you go down to the program layer where you're dealing with features or Jira epics, and then down to the team level where you're planning and implementing, executing on stories, tasks, defects, things of that nature. And then you have hierarchy 3, which is time. You can see that on the bottom there. Oops, let's go back here. So this is where we time box our work into multi-year strategies or quarterly planning and delivery, or even then down to the 2-week, bi-weekly delivery iterations known as sprints, and also milestones. And then you also have this bonus here in the green over on the right. You have this business vectors. This is where we can attach products to features, which allows us to get product-centric view of our planning and delivery. Jira Line also has OKRs, otherwise known as objectives and key results, which we can attach to all 3 hierarchies. Jira Line has value stream or process workflows through which epics or initiatives and other layers can be planned. And then there's domain and budget information, which can be attached to work as well. And just many different levels and ways to report on all this as well. So next, a few just notes about the Jira Line offerings. There are 2 editions of Jira Line. There's Standard and Enterprise. Most of the companies we work with choose the Enterprise edition because it includes all the layers of scale within the tool. And it also includes a development enterprise or a sandbox with it as well. So there are some add-ons to the tool, including time tracking and something called Enterprise Insights, which allows for data to be exported to where you could use tools like Power BI to analyze the data in other ways that you can't, that are not offered within Jira Line. And then lastly, Atlassian is investing a lot of money in Jira Line, and some of the new and upcoming features include a new connector to Jira, Trello integration, improved OKRs, and also more AI features. And then before we get into the demo, one last thing about just implementing Jira Line. So this is a large tool. It does take time to implement. So typically, Jira Line implementations start off with what's called a jumpstart, which is a 3-month package that you could purchase from any Jira Line specialized partner, including XVM. And so you would really start off implementing one program or art with Jira Align. Again, this is assuming you have those set up within your organization. You've ideally started into doing at least one PI or quarterly increment. But that jumpstart would include planning and discovering path, then a configuration and training. And then lastly, you're starting to use the tool and you're validating how the tool is working for your organization. How can you improve on it? And then ultimately, if you've got one program, one art up and running, then you can then expand into other programs. And then ultimately, when you have those programs set up, you can expand to that portfolio level. And there are packages in place for all of these things, again, from a Jira Line specialized partner. So that it can take, obviously many months to get Jira Line implemented across your entire organization, across all your programs, all your portfolios. It can take a long time. So with that, let's go into the actual product demo. So here is the home screen. I'm going to sign in. We can notice that Jira Line is a SaaS solution hosted by Atlassian. And it can be brought into your SSO strategy. And let's get in here and we'll start to do a tour of the navigation. All right, so as we start off, I'm going to start with this left-hand sidebar. This shows the layers of scale that you can choose from and get to many different features. So I'll just start at the bottom where there's a product module. We'll look into that briefly near the end of the demo. You have your team level, your program level, portfolio level, and enterprise level. And in each of these, you can choose one of the levels, and then you have this pullout that brings all these various features available. And you can even do show more if there's other things to look at. So at the program level, again, we'll be looking at program room, backlog, things of that nature. And when it comes to visualizing these, you can set permissions around roles. So each of the users in the tool has a role, and based on that role, they'll be able to see or maybe not see some of these various features available here. So, so that's the sidebar navigation. You can also favorite various things within the tool and search for items in the tool. At the top of the tool, there is something called the configuration bar. And the configuration bar, you can think of it as applying a giant filter across your whole Jira Align site. And this sets the layers of work that you're looking at in each of the features on any menu that you choose from. You're going to see what you've set up here within your filter at the top. So you can choose, again, you can choose a portfolio layer to look at all the work and planning across a whole portfolio or portfolios. You could choose program or programs. You can even go down and choose down to the team layer or choose multiple teams. We're going to start off with the digital services portfolio level and apply that. You can also see we have the time hierarchy here, where you can search for work and across one or multiple, in this case, PIs. That's the way the terminology we're using here. You can look in the past PIs, and you can also there's some quick selects as well in here. You can also add some other filtering around release vehicles and around products as well. They're starting to add in some new things around organization structure. And with all of these things, you can save these configuration bar filters, if you will, for use later on. And whatever you apply here up at the top is just for your particular user. It's not for any other user in the tool. In the upper right, you have a number of features. I'm not going to get into these around just checklists, people, notifications, searching. You have the create button that you're used to within any tool, especially like Jira. And in my case, I'm a super admin, so I can see everything. I can create any work item out here, but obviously the creation of these work items would be contingent upon the permissions you have, which implies the role that you have in the tool. One other thing to note in this high-level walkthrough is the administration area. There's a really robust, quite large area of Jira Line administration. And one thing I want to highlight is there's a platform terminology setting where within the tool, you have the ability to name all the different items, all the different layers, all the different work items. You can name them exactly the way you want to name them, depending on the type of scaled agile framework and the terminology you're using within your organization. So this is a great feature. You can really customize this for your own organization. All right, so with that, I want to just highlight that there's two overarching uses for Jira Line. The first is strategic top-down planning. The second is the visualization of the work and progress that is going to roll up from the bottom up, from the team layer all the way up to the enterprise layer. So we're first going to start off with the top-down planning portion. And for that, we're going to go to the very top. We're going to go to the enterprise layer. And we'll choose the strategy room. So for this, I'm going to have to choose a strategic snapshot. I'm going to choose this corporate strategy 2021, which is set up for a given time frame, usually a year, maybe more than that. And when I come in here, I see this snapshot for this current year. And this shows the mission and vision and values of the organization across a given time frame. You can see from this pyramid that those mission, vision, values then flow down to strategic goals, portfolio objectives, program objectives. There's also a couple layers of other like long-term goals and other goals from the values down to strategic goals that you can toggle on or off. And we can see here too how those objectives also can tie into your work levels like themes and safe epics and features. You also see at this strategy room, you see an OKR heat map. You see OKR trees where you can see the various goals at the various levels and how are you making progress on those key results. There's also a few little widgets here around execution against outcomes. And you also see a snapshot of progress. And you can, obviously you can see the progress you're making all the way down to the story level. And again, this is going to relate to the configuration bar filter you have set up. So this is looking across all of digital services for PI5, and it's showing how many are complete and how many you still have to, your organization is still working on. And this is, again, going by, have they made it to the end of their workflow? And these numbers are the numbers of stories being worked on, features being worked on. So that's your top level planning here, going from mission, vision, values down to long-term goals. And then you get down into the portfolio level, where you actually can start to do the intake of work that's going to connect and execute upon those strategies that your organization has laid out. So you can, the intake of the work can happen from this create button, as we've seen earlier. And then once that intake is in, one way to start to visualize this is looking at the backlog. And we're going to just walk through different layers of the backlog to start. So first, it's bringing me into the Epic backlog. I'm going to jump up to the theme backlog here for this digital services portfolio. And we can see for this portfolio, for this particular program increment, there are 6 themes set up, and there's actually an unassigned backlog that haven't been assigned to any PIs going forward. A backlog, this is backlog like you're used to with other tools. It's where you can see, visualize them, you can rank or reprioritize these themes. You also have the ability to see which PIs they relate to. You can adjust some of this and customize the view of these backlogs. You can also jump into any of them. You can click on any of the summaries of these work items, and you can see a lot of different fields and how they're populated here for themes. I'm not going to go in depth on themes, but you can start to see how this frame pulls out, and you can get a lot of information around what's happening and a lot of other choices in here. Again, it's a very robust tool. There's only so much we can cover in a 1 hour webinar. So this starts off here at the theme level. You can also see what's happening within a theme. You can see in this case, the safe epics that are categorized and linked to this particular theme. And so next we want to jump down to that epic level. So I'm going to go up here and choose the epic backlog. For this, I'm also going to go down to the program level, because there's lots and lots of epics at that portfolio level. I want to focus on the epics that are being contributed to by the mobile program. So I have that selected. I'm going to apply that. So then again, we're down now to looking at the mobile program. We're still in PI5. And here I can see that there are 14 epics that have been assigned to the mobile program. They might also be being worked on by other programs, but we can see those listed here. There's a lot of information. Again, out here, I can customize the view of all this. But again, typical backlog, I can take these, I can re-rank them as if I want to. I can see which features are being worked on underneath them. I could even add new epics to the backlog. I could even add new features under a given epic. So a lot of different opportunities here. There's also some other views. There's under this, I'm looking at the list view. There's also a few Kanban views. So first off, there's a Kanban state view. So this is just showing a high level, not started, in progress, or accepted. I actually wanted to see this value stream view, where Jira Line actually has a safe epic Kanban board built into the tool, where you have your epics that are they begin into the funnel for review, for analyzing, they make it to the portfolio backlog, they start to be implemented, and then persevere, and then gradually we can scroll over and then they're eventually done. So this is a large Kanban board that shows that safe epic intake and whether things are being worked on. And this is where you're making your persevere or pivot decisions as well. So there's that view. There's also a column view that's very helpful in terms of capacity planning. So you can see the amount of load, again, in a given PI, this PI 5. And what this is doing is the tool is looking down into all the teams that are working on the features that roll up to this particular epic or the epics in this this particular view. And you can see the capacity, and are you over capacity, under capacity, based on the velocity of the teams. Again, the tool is calculating velocity, how many story points a team can typically do in a sprint and across a whole PI. And then based on that, you're looking at the estimates that you're putting on your epics and how many story points those estimates kind of relate to. So it's trying to do all these calculations, and it represents that in this view. So let's go back to the list view. And we'll go actually into one of these epics for a closer look. Go ahead and choose this first one. Again, I see this frame that pulls out. And there's a lot to talk about. I'll go through this very quickly. There's a lot going on at the epic level within Jira Line. So you have your details tab. This again is a high level FYI of the epic. You can notice that there are different ways to estimate, and you can put, there's the WSJF capability that you find within SAFE. There's various ways to, again, estimate maybe t-shirt size. There's a couple other opportunities that you can configure within the tool. There's a design tab that allows for, again, a lightweight business case for the epic. You have this intake tab that can be customized in your instance of Jira Line for, again, for specific things that you want users when they're putting in ideas around epics that they could fill out. Again, there's a benefits, again, for lean business case here. There's a value tab that really gets highlighted when you talk to Atlassian about this tool. So this just notes that Jira Line really is focused on value engineering. There's also the ability to do high-level ROIs and a lot of, the ability to do initial estimates, to calculate actual cost. So this gets into that whole idea of you're hypothesizing, you're betting, and then you're trying to make a pivot or persevere decision with an epic. So a lot of support for value engineering. There's also other tabs around time and skills to help with planning and putting milestones on a given epics that can be visualized on your roadmap. There's a finance tab. And with this, just want to note that Jira Line has some nice financial support within the tool. It's not necessarily going to be your one-stop shop for budgeting. It's not meant to replace your accounting tools, but there are opportunities to input and visualize data right next to the details of the work that's being performed. And Jira Line supports two common ways of budgeting. The first is to associate a budget directly with an epic and track CapEx and OpEx. You can see a lot of those fields are here. Jira Line also supports lean budgeting, where budgets are given to programs, and those are associated with the percentage that's assigned to the epics that those programs are linked to. There's a forecast tab that helps with capacity planning, some other links available. And you'll note on all of these work items, there's a why button. And when that's chosen, you can see, like, why is this important? Why are you as an organization working on this? Why are you maybe as a developer or as an RT, why are you working on this? So at each level, each work item has this, and you can get some information very quickly about why is this being worked on? Why are we doing this? And that also can be relayed when we talk about integrating with Jira at that feature level over to the Jira Epic. This can be brought over there as well, so your Jira users can start to see why are they working on a given feature. So that's the Epic backlog. We'll keep moving down to different layers of scale. You'll note that there is a capability backlog in the tool. we have that capability or that solution layer of the tool. We have that disabled in our instance, but there is the ability to have a solution layer in between your portfolio layer and your program layer. If you have that large of an organization that has a solution or multiple arts working towards the same product, you can turn that on, you can utilize that. Most of the companies we work with do not have that, but that is a possibility within the tool. So if we go down here to the feature backlog, again, just note that this is where you can be doing your feature planning, your decision on which ones you want to work on next. You can start to even think about which PIs you might want to put those in for your PI planning event. So, and then again, you can look into any of those, see a lot of different information about your features here. Each of these work items has their own fields. Some of these can be customized. Any of these are pretty locked in within the tool. And you can scroll down and you can see how you can see the stories within a feature. Acceptance criteria is another type of object within a tool. Risks, dependencies, objectives, links, a lot of different interrelating, intersecting work items within Jira Align. So as we're here now in the feature backlog, let's look at a couple of the planning features at the program level, including the program room. The program room is a really nice feature within Jira Line that you don't see within Jira. Let's see how it renders here. So again, I'm in the mobile program for PI5, which happens to be the current PI that we're working with. Actually, I didn't want to go to the program room. I wanted to go to the program board. We'll talk about the program room later on as we look at visualization of work. So let's go up here. Oh yeah, it's down here, program board. So the program board is going to be a digital representation of the boards that at one point were used when everyone got together in the same big room for PI planning, and you had lots of sticky notes up on the wall and string kind of tying sticky notes together to represent dependencies. Well, Jira Line is now digitizing that, representing it so you can have your virtual PI events. And so this again is showing a big board, a program board for the mobile program for one given PI. I could show other PIs going down in the future. This is the current PI. I can see the sprints that are being worked on in this PI. There's 6 sprints set up. I can see the teams that make up the mobile program. And then there's a lot of information out here. There is a legend that you can get to over here to see what all these colors mean, what all the shapes mean. But quickly you can see that this top level are going to be your objectives, your team and program objectives assigned to given sprints. The rectangles are going to be features that are being worked on by each team, and where are they at in their progress, or are there any issues for those? You also have these plus buttons or chevrons that are dependencies, and we'll talk about dependencies shortly. So you can see any dependencies that are set up that one team has with another team in a given sprint. And again, for any of these, like if something's red, I can click on that and I can quickly see, why is this red? And it's going to talk about the teams that are working on this feature. If I scroll down, it's going to show stories that are being worked on, and there's a dependency. And this is showing red because some dependency is blocked. Some dependency that this has is being blocked. So obviously it's not going to be able to make much progress until that dependency is cleared. So you get a quick view into why something is yellow or red. Typically yellow means there's a risk involved. So a lot of information that shows out here in the program board. Regarding dependencies, let's look at that in the program level. So I'm going to go over to the dependencies area. Jira Line has a really robust tool set for dependencies. And yeah, this is a part of the tool that's really useful for many companies that we've worked with, because dependencies, it's a common struggle to work with dependencies and to track them, to collaborate across teams. And features like this have been really useful for companies to easily visualize and to track their dependencies. So when you come into this dependency management section, you can see all the dependencies for a given program. In this case, you can see which teams the dependency was requested from, which team is being dependent on to deliver something. And so, and you could even see other things that, all these are done. You could see other dependencies that aren't done yet. So you can see a list of ones that need action. There's some other visualization, like this wheel view, that highlights all the dependencies with various links from one team to another. So you can see how all these teams are interacting. And I could choose one, like I could choose the Angry Birds team. And then I see there's two lines going into Angry Birds. I can see over here that one is a dependency where work that other needs from Angry Birds, and another one was work that Angry Birds needs from someone else, from another team. And I can click on that dependency, choose one of these here. And you get this sense as you look at this, that dependencies are their own like work item. The dependency has its own workflow, has its own fields. It initially starts off as not committed. Then it's sent over again. One team needs some work done from another team, that the team that's being requested can decide, yeah, I can do this work in this given sprint. And they might create a story in order to accomplish that and deliver and clear that dependency. And so gradually there's this handshaking and a collaboration between teams that's represented with this dependency work item. And ultimately you're trying to get it done so that work is done and the other team can move on with their work. So a lot of a great functionality around dependencies. And there's different types of dependencies within the tool. The team-to-team dependency is the most common one, but there are some other ones as well. So Jira Line has dependency management. They also have, I'll just touch on very quickly, they also have the ability here to do risks and to support management of risks. And again, not going to go in depth on this, but there's the ability to show probability of risk, the impact the risk has, is it related to critical path or not. There's also the ability to go under more actions, see some other visualizations like a risk roam report, where you can see what action is being taken on this particular risks within a given program or whatever your filter is set to. So you have some great visualization and features around risks here as well. So with that kind of wraps up that first use case of Jira Line, where you're doing your top-down planning. So you've looked all the way from the enterprise level down to that program level, where you have your features, and then ideally those features then are being synced over to Jira, and the teams in Jira are then taking those features, decomposing them into stories, putting those stories in sprints, and actually then executing upon those stories and completing the work. And we'll talk about the visualization of that work next, but I just want to do a very quick commercial break, again, around Expium. We are a Platinum Solution Partner based, again, in St. Louis, Missouri. We offer a number of services. We offer training, a number of different training options. One of those is what you're viewing today, webinars. We do webinars every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time. You can go out to our website, and I think some of our project coordinators at Expium are going to be putting some links into the chat around where you can go to our Expium website to register for webinars. We also do some to cloud migrations for Jira Service Management, Confluence, you name it. So we do a lot of consulting on every type of Atlassian product out there. We also have, let's go back here, we also do a lot of custom development. We have a sister company called Oasis Digital Solutions, and they are a full stack development company. And so we work a lot with them to do custom integrations around APIs or custom front ends, you name it. Anything that you need to have done with your Atlassian products, we can certainly help with. And then finally, we do licensing as well as a Platinum Solutions partner for all different types of Atlassian products. And we can certainly help with that. That's really at no cost. And it fits in well with a lot of the other work we're doing with clients. So, and we can often provide discounts as a Platinum Solution partner. So a lot of offerings. Please, reach out to us on our website, or we'll also give some information about that at the end. The other thing I want to note is we do have a presence on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel with a lot of videos that we've put out. A lot of these webinars are recorded and put out a week or two after they run. We also have a series of videos called XVM Expedited Explanations that are these really short videos around different features within Atlassian products. And we also have a presence in LinkedIn. You can also go out to our LinkedIn profile. We also have a couple groups out there that we'd love to get connected with you on LinkedIn as well. So that ends that commercial, and let's go back to the demo. So we left off talking about the top-down planning. So now imagine, again, you're using Jira Line, you're syncing features over to Jira. Your teams in Jira are starting to execute and starting their sprints in a given PI. So that work is all being synced back over to Jira Line. And it's being aggregated for each team. And then those teams that are linked, that make up a given program, all the work they're doing is being shown and aggregated up to the program level. So let's go there, start off there, and we'll go to the program room. So the program room is just a really nice, robust dashboard. You're used to dashboards in Jira or other tools you've been in. So this is dashboard for the whole program. So again, I'm in the mobile program. I'm just focused on PI 5, the work being done in PI 5. And so there's all these different widgets here around team load. Again, this is all based around story points and the capacity that teams have that Jira Line's calculating. What's their velocity again? How many story points can they do in a given sprint? And if you have 6 sprints in a PI, that you're calculating how much a team can do. And then based on how much of that work is assigned to that team, it's calculating all of these things. And then showing progress, the completion of those stories. There's, again, a widget around risks. There's progress over here, showing it's progress made towards stories, towards features, even towards epics. That shows out here. Dependencies, impediments, objectives. There's many different things showing out here. And again, this is all an aggregation of the underlying work that the teams are doing and how they're completing work and the story points on those works, on each of those work items that's being completed. You can also see up here, there's this feature where you can put a planning checklist, and this can be customized for your particular program boards. And this could help your RTEs or program managers to know which part of the tool should I go to when I'm doing this part of the PI program increment work, or tracking progress, or optimizing. So there's different ways you can put things in here, and these can be checked off as something that needs to be done within the course of a given PI. So a lot of opportunities to customize, and this is a great feature, especially your RTEs will love this. And you can see all the features again being worked on, progress being made. You can even show progress being made down at the story level. So a lot of information out here to look at. You can also go up to the portfolio level and all the work. Let's go up to the portfolio level. Let's go to the portfolio room. And here again, it's going to say, wait, I want to show more than just one program. I want to show a whole portfolio. So I'm going to choose the digital services again, apply that in the confirmation bar or the configuration bar. And now this room is aggregating all of the teams and that are under the programs that make up this given portfolio. So this is a higher level aggregation of work. And you have a couple of tabs here. You have an execution tab. Again, this is showing all the work and the progress being made for each of the programs. So it's not showing the teams, it's showing the programs here and the progress being made for each of those programs. It's showing the epics. the safe epics out here and the progress being made on those and the features underneath those epics. It's also even showing a theme program or PI progress made on all the themes as well that are tied to this particular portfolio. So you see that execution all rolling up here. You also have a resources tab. This shows the level of effort for each team and how much work is being done towards the various themes. So you have that view. You also have a financials view. And this is showing a breakdown of the budgets for the PI. And you can look in here at any of these particular safe epics. You can see the budget, forecasted spend. You can see a lot of financials out here. You can even break things down and see the features being worked on and a lot of financial information to understand the health of your portfolio budgeting. So that's out here at the portfolio room. If I go back to the program, I want to go to the roadmap. We haven't talked about roadmaps yet, but there is a road mapping feature and module here within Jira Line that's very robust. And for this, I'm going to jump back once this renders. I'm going to go from the portfolio level back down into the mobile program, so we don't see quite as much information out here. So, all right, so here's our roadmap, and you have a couple of options with roadmaps around work, around release vehicles, or program increment. You also have the ability to show what levels of work that you want to see in the roadmap. So in our case, I want to see the features by epic. So I can actually highlight and visualize two levels of work here. So at the top, I'm seeing the epics, and we're seeing, again, we're focused on PI 5, which deals with these 6 sprints. You can quickly see some health of the given work items, in this case, epics, what color it is. You can see, the progress being made. You can see milestones showing up on the roadmap. And I can break down any of these and expand one of these epics and look at the features underneath those epics. And then at the feature, for the feature roadmap, you can see various stories that are included in a given sprint or iteration. You can see other milestones that show up on the features as well. And again, you can see progress being made and the health of each of these work items. So a lot of information out here when you want to see your road mapping view for future planning, or even in this case, we're looking at an existing PI that's being executed on. So, and how things are going within this PI. So we have that roadmap view. Also wanted to note, again, there's a lot of reporting capabilities within the tool. So we can go down to this reports area, and lots of reports, dozens and dozens of reports. You can obviously favorite some of these. You can also search on some of these. So you can look at various questions like, how are epics progressing across the organization? You can start to type in a question. How are stories progressing in my sprints? Various things like this. So let me see about another one here. Will I complete? Let me see what shows up here. Oh, we don't have that set up yet. So let's go back to the how. But you can look at any one of these questions, and it's going to, based on the question, it's going to bring you to a report that's going to answer that question. In this case, it's bringing me to a work tree part of the tool, so I can see the work being done from the bottom up. And I don't think I'm really set up to view this very well. But the idea here is with reports, there's a lot of different ways you can represent the information and see a lot of cool information around the work being done. So there's a lot of great stuff in reports. And mindful of our time here, I want to get to the final thing, which is the product management piece of the tool. And there's a lot, again, a lot of choices, a lot of features within product management, but let's go to the product room. All right, so we're up here at the product room, and let me just refresh this. There we go, that's a bit more information. So again, in the product room, I'm focused again on this mobile program. and the PI5, and I have a choice at the top of various products that have been set up within this particular instance of Jira Line. I can choose any one of them, and I get a dashboard view of the personas that are set up to think about this particular product called the Check Scanning App product. So I can see personas that have been developed within Jira Line, product objectives. You can again see different gadgets or widgets around value engineering and enterprise alignment. How does this fit in with your different themes and the effort being distributed across your themes? You can see information down here around that. You also see a lot of information around the delivery of actual work items towards this particular product. So you can see features being worked on in the backlog or in a given release vehicle, features in a program increment. You can even see stories that are tied to this product that are being actively sprinted on. So your product management team can go out here and see a lot of information, see how it ties in and how it aligns with the scaled development and even that portfolio planning piece. So you can see how this all ties in together over here: product, portfolio management, your scaled agile development. All these things fit together very nicely, aligning your people, your work, your time across your whole enterprise. So again, I think you've seen from this introduction, there's a lot of features in here that you cannot get within Jira. Maybe some of these can be brought in with advanced roadmaps, but even advanced roadmaps has its limits. That's where Jira Line comes in for a lot of these other features for top-down planning, and then also your scaled up, your visualization of work from the team level all the way up to your enterprise, your C-suite level. So with that, let's see if we have any questions as we wrap up here. So feel free to put in your questions out here if you have any questions. And we'll get to those. So one question here is, how good is Jira Line at catching errors? Like for example, work items are in the wrong increment or the wrong items are misaligned. Well, Jira Line really does great actually at this in the program room. If we go back to the program room. Let's see here. Oh, oops, I keep going to the program. Oh yeah, actually the program room is where I want to go. So the program room, you can see warnings from features down. Like if you go here, you can see if there's any warnings on features. It doesn't look like there's any warnings showing up here, but there's some warnings here that are showing up down at the story level. And this says this, if I hover over this, it says the story's been assigned to a program increment selected in the configuration bar, but its sprint belongs to a completely other program increment. So there's something off there. So it's going to highlight various things with these warning signs. It's also obviously going to highlight how the health of things is going. Are you past, is something not finishing in a sprint? Is it likely that it's not going to be worked on, or it has a dependency that's being blocked? Things like that. You're going to see that out here. You're also going to see errors or issues with progress being made. You're going to see that also out on your program board or on the roadmaps view as well. So there's a lot of different places where Jira Line is going to highlight where something's off with your planning, with your underlying data. It's really great at calling out data that doesn't match up or sync well, especially when you first bring in data over from Jira into the tool. You're gonna see a lot of things that maybe you didn't see before across your teams, your programs, when it starts to get aggregated here within Jira Line. So that was one question. Let's see, we have any other questions here? So yeah, I think there's just the question around, is there anything that we need to consider, when we start to think about implementing Jira Line? And really a lot of that comes down to how are you doing with your agile transformation, with your agile at scale journey as an organization? Where are you at with that, with setting up your programs, with setting up your portfolios, things like that with your teams, that you are really trying to stick as best as you can to a framework, like a SAFe framework. So define your processes, document your processes, document your framework and how your teams and your programs should be set up and what you're working towards. All of that's going to be really, really key as you start to set up and start to coordinate Jira Line and make sure it works well with your Jira instance. Your Jira instance might need to be updated and changed to work well with Jira Line. So these are things that a partner like XVM in a jumpstart or in other sort of consulting work could certainly help your organization with. And we'd certainly love to talk with you if you have any other questions about Jira Line or any other Atlassian products. So, so with that, I just want to highlight this final slide. We have a number of trainings, a number of webinars and upcoming trainings that you can see here, listed here. You can always go out to xvm.com to see the latest offerings we have and register for those. If you have any questions about Jira Line or want to get together and talk about if Jira Line really is the right fit or your organization's unique situation, feel free to reach out to me at jason.kidner@xvm.com. And we could definitely get on a call and talk some more. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. There's a QR code there. And you can also connect with XVM's LinkedIn Atlassian support group as well. There's a QR code for there, or just look us up. Look me up, look XVM up on LinkedIn, or obviously our website. And we'd love to connect and help as best we can. So let me just check one final time for any final questions. Looks like we have another question here. How can we get a demo version of Jira Align for testing? So yes, that's a great question. We get that on most of these webinars. I am sorry to say that Atlassian does not offer a free trial of Jira Align for testing like they do with other products. So you typically, so yeah, that's the bad news. The good news is you can reach out to a support or to an Atlassian partner like XVM, and we can do demos, we can answer questions for you, and just talk about, is this the right fit? Obviously, before any sort of decision about an engagement needs to be made. We're happy to walk with you and talk with you and help answer any questions you have about the tool. But as you can see, yeah, it is a large tool. There's a lot going on there. We have this recorded. We have past webinars recorded as well. If you want to have a look again, see, is this really going to work for us or not? But again, we're happy to talk with you further and even do demos, live demos with your team that's maybe making the decision about Jira Line. So thank you for those questions. So with that, I think we're wrapped up. But again, yeah, thank you for attending this webinar. Look forward to seeing you at other XVM webinars and trainings we have. And with that, I hope you have success with all of your Atlassian products or future products. So thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.